Thank you for meeting me again, Isiah Thomas, on this beautiful 2012 summer day in Minnesota. You have been a great mentor to me since our days in Indiana with the Pacers. I have patterned my entire management style after you.
Thank you, David Kahn. You are a great team president. I love the way that you have handled your drafts. You sure know how to turn lottery picks into vapor. So tell me, David Kahn, how can I help you? And remember, I can't give you too much information because I am obligated to that crazy former drug addict, James Dolan, who for some reason loves me and licks my balls and tongues my ass whenever possible. Plus I'm coaching these college slugs as a cover.
Isiah Thomas, I won't be able to follow your Knicks this year because I have Time Warner Cable, but I bet they will compete for the championship. I really like that Mike D'Antoni of yours. He is a great communicator and defensive-oriented coach. He reminds me a lot of our former coach, Kurt Rambis. So I have a few questions for you. Should I hire a Cattleman or Don Nelson? Don Nelson has won more games than any other coach in NBA history, so therefore he is the best coach who has ever lived. He has even won more games than Red Auerbach and Phil Jackson combined.
If I were you, David Kahn, I would hire Larry Brown, especially if your team needs to take an $18 million write-down next year. He has won a lot of games and is really mentally unstable. He would be perfect for your shitty franchise. May I also suggest Jim Clemens? Like Rambus, Jim Clemens is also from Phil Jackson's tainted coaching tree, and was a real failure in Dallas.
All great suggestions, Isiah Thomas. I was also considering hiring Pat Summitt as coach. We could really capture the lesbian fan base by hiring a women's basketball coach. We could also attract the 3 WNBA fans in the area. And it wouldn't alienate our straight fans because she is actually a straight married woman who just happens to look and dress like a bulldyke. Kind of like Julie Andrews and Victor Victoria, or Nathan Lane in The Birdcage, or Martin Lawrence in Big Mama's House, or J. Edgar Hoover, or sports broadcaster Marv Albert, who loved dressing up in women's clothing and belting out show tunes with other transvestites. I already spoke with my promotions department and they suggested dental dam night, flannel shirt night, strap-on night, and also latex glove night. I called Pat Summitt, but I think that she forgot to call me back.
Pat Summitt is a great choice, David Kahn. If it doesn't work out with her, you can always take the $18 million write-down. May I also suggest Lawrence Frank? He only won at New Jersey because Jason Kidd was there. He was useless in Boston, but I think that you can steal him away from Detroit by offering them Kevin Love as compensation. That is the deal that I would do. If Kevin Love weren't white, he'd be just another player.
Thank you again, Isiah Thomas. I shall call Joe Dumars right now and ask him if he would take Kevin Love off of our hands for Lawrence Frank. Please give me a second while I make the call. I just got off the phone with your old backcourt mate Joe Dumars. He wanted Kevin Love. He called his friends Tony Ronzoni and John Hammond, and they told Joe to ask me for Darko instead. I turned him down.
That's too bad, David Kahn. Lawrence Frank would have been a great choice. You can never overestimate having a midget coach who buys his clothes in the boys department at Kohl's. He is also a coach that players don't respect. But giving them Darko is too high a price to pay. Let me call my friend Ernie Grunfeld to see if he has any suggestions. The idiot Ernie Grunfeld suggests we hire Randy Nitwhitman, his great assistant. I told him that you would give him Kevin Love for the rights to Randy Nitwhitman, but he asked for Anthony Randolph instead. He said that Anthony Randolph is more athletic than Kevin Love, and he has a lot more potential.
Thank you again, Isiah Thomas. You are so generous that I am calling my retarded owner Glenn Taylor to have him nominate you for a Nobel Peace Prize. You are a great choice. President Obama won it a couple of years ago, and all he did was preside over more death and mayhem in the Middle East.
Thanks for that, David Kahn. You are the best. May I please squeeze that giant pimple on your face? What shoots out of that could put out a 4-alarm fire? I am also suggesting the great UCLA coach, Ben Howland. I really respect his strategy. His brilliant move against Memphis where he started Darren Collison on Derrick Rose was fantastic, considering that he had both Russell Westbrook and Luke Richard to cover him. I also appreciate a coach who can manage his timeouts. I love how he calls timeouts before the opening tip. Timeouts late in a game are overrated anyway.
Thank you for making all of these calls for me, Isiah Thomas. You are a great basketball executive. What do you think of Rick Adelman?
I don't like Rick Adelman because he has won every place he has coached, so I'm naturally leery about that. But if you must hire him, I would overpay him, just so you can give him an $18 million buyout and take the write down. I suggest you call Houston and ask permission to speak with Rick Adelman.
Okay, I will call now. Isiah Thomas, I just got off of the phone with Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey. He told me that they let go Rick Adelman after last season and hired Kevin McHale. I wasn't aware of that. But he did offer me the rights to Rudy Tomjanovich for Kevin Love. What do you think about that, Isiah Thomas?
Rudy T is tough, but if he were black he would just be another player. If I were you, I would counter with Kevin Love for Calvin Murphy. Calvin Murphy is very quick and can twirl a bat ton, and has 14 children from 9 different baby mamas. He makes Antonio Cromartie look like Ozzie Nelson and Sean Kemp look like Fred McMurray, but to tell you the truth, David Kahn, I haven't seen Calvin play in a while. I just told James Dolan to trade Stoudemire to you for Mike Beasley, and then petition the league for a 48-second clock.
No, I don't want Stoudemire. He is a religious Jewish person, so he can't play on Friday nights and Saturday afternoons. He also can't ride in a car or push elevator buttons on the Sabbath. We would have to hire Jean-Pierre Paul to do that for him, and his season doesn't end until January or February. We don't need that kind of trouble here. Plus, Mike Beasley is so athletic and had so much potential. Mike Beasley came to me last season to ask me about whether he should convert to Judaism. I told him that it was a bad idea since he couldn't be buried in a Jewish cemetery because of the 832 tattoos on his body and has more ink on him than what's inside the Big Pen factory. He told me that he would leave a will with instructions after he dies, that he would have all of his skin boiled off before being buried. He is currently studying for the conversion. He's taking bar mitzvah lessons at Temple Beth Skittles in Mankato, Minnesota.
I never thought that Mike Beasley was a Jew. Go figure. I didn't know that you could eat Skittles on the Sabbath. So you should hire Rick Adelman. That seems to be the right thing to do. Just make sure you put a clause in his contract that if you fire him before his contract is up, that he gets $18 million.
I will then hire Rick Adelman. Isiah, when will you take me up on our offer to bring you in as a consultant? I can't guarantee that you will eventually take over for me because my owner, Glenn Taylor, is an oblivious moron, and no matter how much I fuck up, he wouldn't fire me. The only one crazier in the state of Minnesota is that fucking bat-crazy piece of fuck Michelle Bachmann. She is crazier than Charles Manson on 24 taps of LSD.
I really can't join your great Minnesota team because I am a consultant with the Knicks, even though there is nothing in writing. I also don't need David Stern sniffing around my ass again. But please feel free to call me when you have a question. But I will do you a favor. We will trade Josh Harrelson, Jerome Jordan and Jared Jeffries to you for the non-athletic Kevin Love, who if he were black, would just be an ordinary player.
I would do that deal in a second, but for some reasons that non-athletic Kevin Love is a real fan favorite. Those stupid fans are fooled by his three-point shooting and his rebounding and his other so-called skills. I don't see it. Those piece of fuck Minnesota hicks don't know a thing about athleticism and potential. Isiah, is there anything else that I can do for you for all of your help? Would you like to rub against that ugly middle-aged African-American promotions and marketing woman who is sitting in that cubicle over there?
That would be great. She is really hot and looks tasty. She looks like Betty White in blackface and cornrows. I'm going to go over there right now and rub my crotch all over her back. She will love it because I am an NBA Hall of Fame player. Plus I am soft-spoken with a voice like a young, creamy Michael Jackson. Thank you, David Kahn.
No problem, Isiah Thomas. Enjoy. I will call accounting right now and have an $11.8 million check ready for that ugly middle-aged African-American woman who looks like Betty White in blackface and cornrows. Have a great time with her and tell her to stop by Human Resources afterwards to pick up her $11.8 million check.